What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on?
It's a late night show, so we can say these things. We can be a little crass. We can say some dirty things.
If I was a woman and I knew what to tell people how to make me come the quickest, I would let everybody know. I'd put it on a t-shirt and wear it around. Welcome back to another beautiful Friday night where I am joined by the Kelly Kapowski to my Zach Morris, Jessica Fensky, Forrest Mommy, and we're joined tonight by Screech, my brother Doug.
You know what's funny? I was going to say that, and I was waiting for you to... I'm like, yeah, and join with the Screech. You fucking beat me to it, you son of a bitch.
Seems I'm just as clever as you, old girl.
Are we on YouTube too right now?
Yeah, we're on YouTube right now. We'll cut it out at 30 minutes.
Oh, did I curse because of the cursing?
No, I was worrying for me.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Doug is joining us tonight because we're not doing a show tomorrow, I guess. And
I was invited by Jesse.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Hi, Adam. Hi, Alice.
See, I told you, Jesse, he doesn't want me here.
Okay. First and foremost, I have been very polite today because on Twitter, there's every current that you're saying about there's no show tomorrow. It seems like it's my fault there's no show tomorrow, and I let it go. If you read it, it comes across like, man, Sid Reb's not having a show tomorrow night. I know you're saying the show's not happening.
That's
tomorrow.
not you. You are exactly like Dad, dude.
Calm.
You're exactly like Dad.
Calm.
It's the stupidest take you could ever possibly have.
Let's go.
No, I'm sure he could have a stupider one, but yeah,
definitely could have a stupider one.
Yeah, I'm the one that's always being a dick. It's not you. It's me.
I'm so glad, Doug, you're here. I'm so glad.
I am.
I could go to bed.
I am glad. You guys stop fighting right now. We're gonna have a good time.
Alice says, "Fuck Paul. We want Doug here." There you go, Doug. Chat's in your favor, and they're against me.
Welcome to Friday night, everyone. It's Friday night.
I do love that you just did the shoulder thing from the intro. I love it when you're like, hee. And if you notice, like right at the end, you go, How's everybody's weeks going? Doug's obviously in an exotic location. Sheboygan.
No, he's not. He's in Oshkosh right now.
Oh, he's in. I thought he was going to Oshkosh tomorrow. He's going to Sheboygan tomorrow.
And Sheboygan's right on the lake. I looked it up. Right.
Yep. Yeah. Also, fun fact, after when 9/11 happened, the first fire department to deploy to New York on their own was the Sheboygan Fire Department. As soon as the planes hit, they just loaded up their trucks and headed to New York.
Shout out Sheboygan Fire Department then.
Mm-hmm.
My week's been great. I had to do a lot of politics this week. I was at the Capitol all day Tuesday. I did a Zoom testimony yesterday. Just a lot of politics shit.
I loved your you had 2 minutes to speak, and you were like, "I'm going to keep this brief and sweet because I left my notes in the other room." I thought that was hilarious.
I like being shorter too because I'm obviously not a gun expert and all this. Other people have way better stuff, so I'm like, I just give my point of view, and I don't need to drag it out really. But yeah,
no, I thought you did a great job. Your public speaking has gone light years in the last couple of years.
It's getting better, right? Especially that. Like, and I was looking at this. So the Senator Tom Sullivan. He had a kid dying in Columbine. So he's been making money off of his son's death since then, basically, in politics and all this shit. So
I thought that was a hoax.
It might. Who knows? There are conspiracies around Columbine, I think. But anyways, he was looking me right in my eye, and that's why I was like, and I was laughing because I'm like, no one else told him thank you if that was in opposition. And I was like, thank you for bringing us all together. That's great. You make us stronger when you do that. So it was a good day too.
We all get behind the fact that we all hate you with a dying passion.
Yeah, we had a rally in the morning, and just to be like full of myself, which I totally never am, of course, but like I knew so many people there, and I had people coming up and asking if I was Forrest Mommy, which I fucking loved. So like it was just a good time, and there was a ton of people that showed up, and there was still 100 people who wanted to testify when they cut it off. They cut it off at 11, so that's good.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In the name of gun rights in America, I think FPC had a big win in the 5th district this week. I think the 5th.
Yeah, the age The age
Yep.
thing is unconstitutional.
The 5th district said it's unconstitutional to withhold 18 to 21-year-olds from being unable to purchase a handgun, which is fucking huge. Obviously, that's going to get appealed. That's going to go to the Supreme Court. And I'll tell you right now, our Supreme Court we have right now will uphold that decision of the 5th court. And if that gets plastered into like this is how the law is interpreted, what a great thing that is. Where now
because Colorado passed that where you had to be 21,
and I'm pretty sure it was Columbine. It was Columbine that rolled that back to make it. I think Columbine was the scare tactic used to move that back.
Oh, bullshit.
No, that's awesome. I think it's
well,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that the laws they try to pass is what's bullshit.
Well, speaking on guns, I will do an update on my father situation from the story of last week. And if you watched last week's Sibling Revelry, you got to hear Doug's take on my dad. This week, I went to Thursday morning breakfast with my mom, and my dad was a lot more nice to me and talkative and inquisitive. And after breakfast, sitting there, and the Trump, this was right when Trump was doing the press conference for the plane crash. So my dad is literally cursing at Trump on the TV as if Trump was sitting in the room with him. Like he was motherfucking him, and I'm just sitting there listening to it. And then like once he got off and like Trump was off TV, my dad looks at me and he goes, "Do you got your Glock 19 on you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You mind if I see it?" And I'm like, and I pulled it out of my holster. I'm like, "Here you go," because he just bought the 17. And he looks at it and like he's looking at it and he's like, "Ah, yeah, I thought this was way smaller than mine. This is just a little bit smaller." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "You have the full size. This is like the smaller end of the full size, the bigger end of the subcompact." I mean, like Glock 19 is not small by any means or any stretch of the imagination. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want to get a smaller Glock now for my everyday concealed carry." I was like, "Do you want to get the 23 or the 43?" And he looked
43X, baby.
me eyes wide and he goes, "You know about this stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, I know about this stuff. I own a lot more guns than you think I do." And I'm like, "Why do you think you asked me all of these questions about Glock? Because I know Glock's inside and out." And he's like, "Well, I was thinking about the 43. I'm like, "That's the smart choice." I was like, "I'd get the 43 because it's got the dual stack. And if this comes to worse, you can use your 17 mags in the 43. And then he started like telling me like what his issues with Glock are. Good. He doesn't know. That's what's funny about it. Anyway, so it was a nice conversation. It was a nice conversation. And then he looks at my mom and he goes, "Post office says my package is going to be here in 5 minutes. Make sure we're ready at the door." And I'm like, "That's odd." He's like, I'm like, "What'd you order?" And he's like, 6,000 rounds of 9mm. And I just got a smile on my face. He goes, "That's right. You fucking right-wing Trumpers aren't the only ones armed." And I'm like, "Cool." I was like, "I'm happy. I'm happy, Dad, you got the fucking 6,000 rounds of ammunition. I'm happy you're becoming a gun nut. Because as soon as your side starts trying to take your guns away, I can't wait to hear you complain about it." Like, yeah. I'm going to be excited when that happens. And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm ready for any fucking Trumper to come in my face. I'm old enough to where I don't give a fuck and I'll pull a trigger." I was like, "Dad, you should be really thankful your son doesn't believe in red flag laws. Because if I did, I would interpret as what you just said as mentally unstable."
You told him that? You said that to him? Lordy.
And then he's like, "Are you going by Westman's, which is the gun store, like the big gun store in our area?" And I'm like, I'm going by Westman's." He's like, "Would you drop off my Glock 17 rack and have him put these the neon sights on it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." And he goes and he grabs the 17 and he comes out and he's like, Can you disassemble it?" And I'm like, "What?" He goes, I don't know how to take it apart." And I'm just like laughing and I go, "All right, there we go." He's like, "They're so hard to rack. It hurts my shoulder." I'm like, "You're hilarious, Dad."
Crazy. That's good though. There were liberals who testified against this gun thing too. And I guess there's a liberal gun owners Reddit, which I'm not on Reddit much, but they were saying they're like all the people who are pro gun control were these white old Karen women, and then everyone who's against it was diverse. It was business women. It was just so diverse. Everyone who speaks against it, and they're like noticing that. So hopefully they start voting different.
Did you see the story out of Chicago this morning?
Mm-mm.
Trash man, guy picking up trash. Garbage man for the city of Chicago. Also holds a concealed carry permit. He's on his route picking up trash. 2 urban youths come up to his trash truck. They both pull out guns and try to rob him. They robbed a garbage man of the trash truck. He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll give you my wallet." Wha bam, bam, shoots both of them, kills one. One takes off. He hit one in the head, the other one in the head. They're just looking for him. I was like, golly, America's on the rise again.
Yeah, you got to take care of those problems in the moment. How's your week been, Doug?
It's okay. I'm writing on hotel stationery. I'm trying to recreate the Big Lebowski. I'm writing Jackie Treehorn, and then I'm drawing a picture of a guy holding a dick, and then I'm going to take it off, but I'm going to leave the imprint on so somebody can
Tell what it was.
tell what it was. My week's been okay. It's just been busy. I'm exhausted and I'm ready to go to sleep. I've just been driving nonstop, but I'm not complaining. It's going to be good money at the end of it.
Are you going to sleep good in that hotel room?
Very good.
Good.
Very, very good.
How's your Marco's pizza? Did you eat any of the Marco's pizza already?
Yeah, I had 2 slices of it.
What's your thoughts?
It's good.
Because we had one, me and Joe had one right next to us in South Carolina. And the 5 years I lived there, never got it once. But they were always busy.
We had one open up in Cape Coral right like a year before I left, and I tried it once, and I really enjoyed it for like I don't know what you call it, like fast food pizza, like Papa John's or Pizza Hut, stuff like that, where you can go in and get it in under 10 minutes. And it was really good. Like the crust is like a New York style crust that you could fold in half, and they have the old world pepperonis that curl up and get all oily, and it's my favorite. So when I saw that down the road, I mean, there's Popeyes next door, there's all kinds of places here. But I saw the Marcos, and they had a large 1-topping pizza for $9.99. I'm like, that's what I'm getting for dinner. And I had 2 slices and put the rest in the fridge, and probably take the rest home with me.
Yeah, I've had fairly good experience with Marco's here. We have it here too, so
it's not bad. It's better than Domino's. Way better than Domino's.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's just been working. Just been working a lot. Got to come to Oshkosh today, which was cool. I spent an hour and a half in this insane comic book store that is like Shangri-La, and spent $70 on some classic books that I'm surprised I got, and I really want to go back there so bad. He had the guy that runs the place. When you walk in, he's got like a giant Slimer, like a full-size, professionally made Slimer hanging from the ceiling. To the left, he's got a talking Pee Wee Herman doll sitting on Cherry that he wouldn't sell me, which really pissed me off because I wanted that Pee Wee doll. But it was awesome. I that's the kind of stuff that excites me. The older I get, the one thing remains the same. I will never stop loving comic books.
Yeah, I like getting to experience you going to a comic book store this summer. It was fun, like to see how someone who loves it does it.
Genuinely,
truly the happiest I am.
It was genuinely entertaining observing Jess, observing Doug in a comic book store. Like, to take it thrice removed, like Jess was like watching. It was like watching a little girl watch The Wizard of Oz for the first time. Like, she was so enthralled with it. She's like, look at all these nerds. Like, there's like in the car, she was sitting there and she was doing her makeup, and I'll never forget it. And like, I noticed out of the corner of my eye, she stopped doing her makeup, and I'm like, what's going on? And she looks over and she's like, look at that guy. He just got out with his haul and he's so happy. And I look over and there's this dude that looks like your typical comic book, consumer. Like, he had socks like up to his ankles, wearing Birkenstocks, like t-shirt tucked into his jeans up to his nipples.
Hell yeah.
He's in his car and he's rubbing these comics like they are a fucking woman. You know what I mean? And Jess is just mesmerized watching this play out. I thought it was hilarious.
We are Legion, man. That is truly. It's funny because I do think about that trip to Green Bay with you, and I'm like, I think about how my dad thought you were autistic, and how quiet I was, and I'm like, yeah, when you get me in the right setting, I will open up in a comic book store. I revert to 8 years old, like I'm 8 years old all over again. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, I did a little video in the car where you showed off what you got. I loved it. I love it. I'm going to fucking WrestleMania. Well, I'm not actually probably going to the actual WrestleMania, but I'm going there for that.
To Vegas
weekend.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I'm like, I love that people love wrestling so much. Like, I love it.
I got to figure out a way to try to watch Royal Rumble tomorrow night. I don't even know. Is it on Peacock? Like, I don't even know what they're doing.
No, I don't know. I don't know if Netflix is going to do pay-per-views or what. I didn't even.
I know Peacock had the pay-per-view contract. I don't know if they still do. I don't understand. any of the shit. I know the NXT's on UPN now. Anyway, yeah,
I'll download it. I'll watch it.
WrestleMania weekend is a blast in whatever city they're having it in, because there's like 15 independent shows that are going on simultaneously that are just trying to leech off the people who couldn't get tickets to WrestleMania. There's always trade shows and conventions. You can go see all the old timers from like the 80s and that, selling pictures of them for like $25 a pop.
Speaking of old timers selling stuff, did you see? Is it Gene or Gerald Briscoe? Which one's still alive?
I think
Can't
they're
remember.
both still alive.
Well, one of them
but Gerald is the more famous of the two.
Gerald, and it is Gerald. Gerald Briscoe lives in Tampa, and I just saw a thing on YouTube yesterday. This new local news in Tampa was doing a story on him. It's like, I'll bet you didn't realize that one of the most well-known wrestlers lives in your backyard, and I'll bet you also didn't know that he has an entire lifetime full of memorabilia untouched. And Briscoe brings the news crew up to his house. He opens up his garage and he just starts going through boxes of like Ultimate War, like in mint condition Ultimate Warrior, like memorabilia, like foam hands and shit. He's got toys. He's got everything. I'm like, dude, what are you going to do with all this? Because some of those I want. He posted a thing on his Twitter and it was like 20 of those Ultimate Warrior paper masks that you used to get when you go into the arena. He's got them all mint. And he's like, who wants these? I DM'd him. I'm like, I sent him a Twitter message. I'm like, I want one, please. I'll give you my address. Just DM me. That'd be awesome. I love shit like that too. I mean, I'm not as nerdy about wrestling as I am comics. That's more Paul, but I do love wrestling quite a bit. I like old wrestling though.
I have to go pee real quick, which is stupid because we just started. But when I come back, I want to hear about the faggot church.
Faggot church.
Yeah, I saw a church today. Well, so when I went to go get comics, I took a walk out. It was in downtown on Main Street, downtown Oshkosh, and I don't remember ever coming to Oshkosh. I'm sure you have, but
that's where the airplane shows are.
Yep, they got like tanks and stuff like old tank replicas out in the road for people to look at and stuff. It's actually pretty cool here.
Also the home of Oshkosh Bagosh.
Oshkosh Bagosh. When I left the comic book store, I just took a walk down Main Street, like just to look at like all the cool old brick buildings and stuff. And then I walked behind the building where I'd parked my vehicle, and I could smell like really good char-grilled burgers. I didn't know where they were coming from. And as I was walking to the vehicle, like enthralled with that smell, I looked across the street and I saw this beautiful church. And if I had to guess, I'm sure we could look it up, but it had to have been over 100 years old, just based on how it looked, like the architecture and the structure. I mean, a beautiful building.
Is it Catholic or Methodist?
First Presbyterian. And when I looked across the street at it, I was just marveled by how it looked. And then my eyes zeroed in on the doors. And the doors are painted a rainbow flag. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah. All the secular churches, they're really nosediving, turning into it.
I mean, I was talking to Mom about it. I'm like, it really kind of weirded me out to see that. But I also shouldn't be too surprised because I'm in a college town. Like every other window, instead of having curtains, and these are nice houses, not shitty houses, but a lot of the houses that we drove down the road looking at today, instead of having curtains, they had trans flags in their windows. And I'm like, what the fuck? And the mom's like, well, you're in a college town. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
And that's how they're going to try and take over Wisconsin. Okay, it's 66. I was looking up the population of Oshkosh. And it is a college town there. So yeah, that's where they're all that's what they do. They'll take over in those towns. And
you know what though? I'm okay with college towns. Like to me, keep it out of kindergarten through 12. Let basic education be what kids need to become the adults that we're supposed to become. Save sexuality and gender ideology for college. That's what it's for.
And don't push it everywhere. In the town, like the towns push it. Like in Fort Collins is a college town, and the actual the city council, they're all about this stuff. Like they love painting rainbow crosswalks and stuff like that. They're just so pushy about this stuff. That's all.
So this has been an interesting week. Not to divert the conversation, just interesting week at college. So most of my courses follow the same trend. You got quizzes, bookwork, and shit like that. But throughout the 8-week semester, 3 of the weeks are like a building stone to your final exam, your final project. So like week 3, you get the first introductory steps to your final project. Week 5, you do an add-on to it, like write a report on it, and then your actual final based off those first 2 things is due on like week 7, and then
Right.
after the end of week 8. So anyway, for graphic design, I think it's 280 that I'm taking. We all got the same assignment. You have to build a flyer for a pizza place in a college town. And what they do is they give you a huge booklet of like somebody who did market research for this college town and what the kids are looking for in this town and why this company's been failing for the last 5 years. And it's your job to create a flyer that's going to bring business back into it. And that was the first step of the first leg of the project. So you actually build the flyer, and then you turn the flyer in, you get feedback on it, and then you wait for the next instructions. So I turned my flyer in, and it's so funny. Like and this is going to come across as bragging, but I'm not. In all my graphic design courses, my feedback for every project I've turned in this far is, "You're doing great. I have nothing to tell you to do better." Like that's like my feedback I get. Like, you understand, you get the concept of the art of graphic design.
You're not a retard.
This week, the project is for the first time ever. This is the first time I've ever had to do this in any of my graphic design classes. You have to share your flyer with the whole class. So everybody has to share. This is the first time I get to see my other classmates. And I'm like, oh shit, now I get to assess my skills against my 30 other
Pizza.
So holy shit. Like I have like I'm like a human just like anybody else. Like, am I understanding this? Am I doing a good job? You know what I mean? Like, you have that anxiety. Let me tell you, all that shit got blown out now that I've started seeing my classmates' fucking projects. I realized I am light years fucking ahead of everybody. It is literally, they pulled the JPEG off Google and just slapped like Times New Roman font on top of it, like, pizza cheap, come eat. And I'm like, oh wow, you guys don't get this concept at all. And I thought to myself, I bet you we're all getting fucking A's. I bet you, like, I bet we're all getting fucking A's.
No problem. You should have done the pizza place where in Washington D.C. that supposed had the child pedophilia. You should have done
Cosmic pizza.
Great
Comet
cheese pizza.
You guys want to see my project?
Sure.
No.
You don't have to. I mean, you could say no. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I can't even remember what.
Were they were all young. Most of the classmates you're with are probably younger too. And
I would assume. I don't have access to.
Although it is
know
like,
names.
It is New Hampshire, which a lot of older people go to. Hi, Kaylee.
Hey, Kaylee. You are pretty old, Paul. You are going to be 40 this week.
This week is my birthday. That is a correct fucking statement.
What day? Oh yeah, that's the Thursday. Is your birthday?
Thursday is the day of the birth.
Kaylee says, "Show us." You can show us. Are you pulling it up?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Oh wow. So
if you were a broke college student, would this work for you? Would this be a place you'd check out?
Yeah.
What does it say at the bottom? I can't see what it says. When you had.
It says when you had a long day of cracking the books, College Pizza is here to feed you affordably.
Yeah.
But how affordably though?
You'll figure that out once you get there. My job isn't for you to spend the money; it's to get you in the door.
Yeah. Were you supposed to not put the price on it?
Huh? Yeah, you don't put a price on it. I don't.
You can't put a price on the quality.
I can't. Like, no, that's not what a graphic designer does. I don't price the menu of the college place. All I'm trying to do is get people in the door.
Okay, I kind of agree. Kayla's offering constructive criticism.
The writing is a little harder to read at the bottom. No, I agree. That, and it's really small on the screen when you.
You could put like more black behind the letters, right, or something.
You got to think this is supposed to be an 8.5 by 11 flyer that you hand out, so it would look different in person. But no, I agree. White was a poor choice. I'm going to change it for the final.
White's never a poor choice. White's always right.
That's the number one, man.
Speaking of which, good.
I've been hammering blue hairs all day on Instagram in the comments, man, talking about that shit.
About what shit?
Just like just I don't know, like all of the being white, the pro white stuff. Like, I've seen so many. I was telling Jess earlier in Discord, like, so many reels of trans and gay people like filming themselves in their room alone or their car crying tears because Trump won again. And I'm at the point with Instagram where I hate doing the reels so much. I think I am trying to self-sabotage and get suspended because now I'm commenting on everything I see that enrages me. And usually it's just troll comments, but like someone's like, Trump said there are only two genders this week, and he basically erased my existence. And my only comment is chalk another dub up for Team White Guy. Right on, my vote counted.
It is good
And
to be a white guy again.
I've gotten a few people who are coming back at me now on Instagram. I'm like, oh, now I'm having fun. Like now when they respond back to me and I get to have like a back and forth, it's so fun. Like I don't know why I wasn't trolling people way back in the day. This is a lot of fun. It's probably not healthy, but it's fun.
Have you guys been following the whole Bryce Mitchell UFC Dana White thing?
I have not.
Oh, that he's like controlled by Jews or something?
No, so I don't know about all that. I'll tell you what, I think it's a great testament to Dana White and who he is as a person, how he this
Hi,
all got handled.
Tony.
So Bryce Mitchell is like a young up and comer in UFC. He's like 17-2, white kid, like from Georgia or some southern state. He started a podcast this week, and on his podcast, he has like a 5-minute segment where he's like, Hitler's not a bad guy. Like if you really go back and like study the history, he's like the type of guy I'd want to share a beer with or like go fishing. And like he just goes into this long diatribe on why Hitler wasn't as bad as everybody says he is. I mean, it's funny. But he's not saying a joke. He's not saying it as a joke. Like he's being dead ass serious. And Dana White last night was doing his the face slapping tournament. And he came out to do a presser and he's like, all right, let me go ahead and talk about the shit I don't want to talk about. So for those who heard Bryce Mitchell's podcast, let me say Hitler's not a good guy. He killed 6 million Jews. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard a human being say on air. Like he just went on to like lambast everything Bryce Mitchell said, but he's like, you know what? Bryce Mitchell's got the freedom of speech, and that doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I think he's the dumbest person alive, and you can't fix stupid. And then some fucking female press journalist asked him, well, is UFC going to punish him anyway? He's like, no, we're not going to punish him. You know what's great about UFC? When you have somebody who says something as stupid as fucking he did, you get to sit back and hope he gets the shit kicked out of him in the next fight he's in. And then you feel like karmic justice is like, you know what I mean? Like Dana White handled it beautifully. Like I fucking think what he said is retarded, but he gets the right to say it, and UFC ain't gonna dock him or like fight.
And it was his own fucking podcast and shit, wasn't like.
And he's got a podcast. What do you want me to do? And he's like, well, this was his first episode. And Dana White goes, well, that's a hell of a way to start it. Like Dana White's fucking funny. Like he's just got good comedic timing. Yeah, I've seen all the shit like Dana White is the son of a Holocaust survivor owned by the Jews bullshit. I don't get into the weeds in any of this shit. There's too many conspiracy theories. I'll just wait for the cards to fucking lie. I care about Dana White saying something, backing up what he's saying, and then following through with it. And I know that he fucking disagrees with Bryce Mitchell on this. Not going to punish him. Not going to fire him. Just says, yeah, he's a fucking asshole. Yeah. Let's hope he gets the shit kicked out of him. Yeah, let's hope he gets the shit kicked out of him for the next fight. And then somebody said to him, what if he wins his next fight? Dana White's like, what do you want to do?
Then he wins.
Then he wins.
It is the wildest thing that people don't understand. Like, yeah, I'm running a business. Like that. The point for me is to make money. And if this guy brings in people and I guarantee he's going to bring in more people because of what he said. People are going to be curious. But like, that's what it is. It's business. It's the same with like all this fucking real shit. People like. I saw Jesse, not Jesse Jackson. Who's the other? Al Sharpton, the one that used to be fat, and now he's all thin. He was on there talking about how Trump got rid of DEI in the workplace and all the reasons why it's a horrible idea. And then there was some black lady that came on to comment about his thing, and she's like, "This is why I'm telling all my people, you got to stop giving money to these companies that are doing away with DEI." And I'm like, but that's a business. Like, and furthermore,
stop giving money to the federal government. See how that works.
I was gonna say, furthermore, that's a lesson you should have learned. That's one thing Paul always says, like, stop giving them their money. If they don't, it's Disney. Disney's a perfect example. When Disney started making, I mean, I had to pay for Disney Plus, but like, still, even if I did, all the gay shit they started making, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to pay for this anymore. Like people like just figuring this out now. Like, I'm just going to stop. If they do away with DEI, my favorite coffee shop, I'm going to stop going there. As you should. Like, why is this a revelation to you all of a sudden?
They just figured out the free market, and they think they're virtuous for figuring out how the free market fucking works.
Here's what I never understood about the civil rights movement. I know that's going to be a hot way to start this conversation.
Why we gave them votes?
No. Here's an honest critique. Here's an honest critique of the civil rights movement. First off, let me say I'm happy that Black Americans, Brown Americans, all Americans have the same rights. And I'm happy the 1960s happened. I'm happy Jim Crow's gone. But with that said, why would you want to fight so hard to spend your money with a person who absolutely fucking hates you? I never understood that whole like, we want the right to sit in the same fucking cafe as a raging racist to give him money for a cup of coffee, knowing that he'll spend the money to throw a fucking Klan rally. Like, I never understood that mindset. You know what I would have done? I'd have been like, ah, man, there's a lot of black people that want to drink coffee with white folks. I'm going to open up a coffee shop that's open to everybody right next door to the racist white guy and tell everybody's welcome. Like, come on in. And then I'm just going to print the fucking money. But I am
Serve
a free
them black and white
capitalist.
cookies.
How the 19th was a mistake? It was, Kaylee. But that's our fault.
But it's not nearly as bad as the mistake that was January 6th. Dude, that's something I can talk about that I could bring up real quick that I was going to talk about next week, but fuck it. I didn't lose a friendship of 20 years, thankfully. It's definitely not pleasant, but man, did one of my friends, and I'll tell
Real
Paul
quick,
off here because he
we don't
knows
have
who
the
it
same
is.
viewers. We don't have the same viewers. Give a little background to what's going on.
So I have a friend, a really good friend of mine that I've known for damn near 20 years, and he's not on Twitter. He's a good, he really is a great guy, but still lives where I lived in Florida, and he's got a daughter, and he's always been more liberal mindset. But growing up, we like never politics wasn't a thing. Like I mean, George W. Bush happened, and then it became a thing in our friend clique, but it wasn't anything that drove anybody apart. Earlier this week, I saw a statistic come up. Doug Townsend, oddly enough, of all people, posted it, and it was Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. And next to each one of their names, it had their years of service as a president and how many illegal aliens they deported. And I reposted it on Instagram, shocked to find that Barack Obama actually had the nickname Deporter in Chief because he deported the most illegal aliens of any president.
Until Trump.
And until Trump. Well, they're actually saying like Trump's his numbers are, well, I mean, I'm sure they're going to rise, but they're saying currently his numbers are not even close to being Barack Obama's. If what Townsend posted is actually factual and correct. I saw it and I took a screenshot and I put it up on Instagram stories because all of Instagram I only use for reels for the show and to communicate with some of my friends back home in Florida that I know will never come to Twitter because I still care about some of the people. I mean, I've known these people for two decades. So I'm at the point now, though, with the second Trump presidency where I can't take another 4 years of listening to my friends bitch about the same thing, bitch about the threat to democracy and the end of life when they've lived through this 4 years already. I can't do it. So I snapped, and on this, I didn't really snap, but I posted this thing, and then underneath the statistics, I wrote, "We should cancel Barack Obama." I had no idea, and this friend of mine reached out to me in a DM, and I mean, like 3 chapters of a novel worth of a letter that I can't even remember all of it, but it was basically like the one thing that stuck out in my mind was like, I can't believe you would support somebody like this. Maybe it's because you don't have kids and you just don't understand like what kind of future we're leaving to the future generation, which I responded to like, of course that's why. Like, I don't have kids. I don't have a stake in the future. What do I give a fuck, man? I almost died once. I want to enjoy my time for what remainder time I have left. I'm not going to get worked up over this shit. Well, why'd you post it? I'm like, because I knew it would get a rise out of people. And I'm tired of fucking seeing everybody like bitch and moan about this stuff. And we've lived through it already. And he's like, he wrote me another lengthy post in response, and it was everything that Trump's done that is wrong. Didn't list any other presidents. It was just Trump focused. And when he came, he's like, "Don't even get me started on those January 6 cocksuckers." And I'm like, "All right, man." I just simply responded like, "I hope you understand that after 20 years of knowing me, that you should know who I am. But if this is the tie that breaks it for you, I completely understand. I don't agree with it. But I want you to understand that I love you and I want nothing but the best for you and your family, and I want nothing but for you guys to succeed." And he wrote me back and he's like, "Yeah, well, we probably will because we're typical white guys and white guys always win." And I'm like, "All right, man." I didn't even respond. I'm just like,
I
"All
get
right,
behind
man."
that message.
Like, yeah, I can't too, but like he was clearly just doing it to be like a dick. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, I think I said something in my response to him to the effect of like, when I left, I'm like, once he's like, because he said something to the effect of like, "You were never like this," and I'm like, not outwardly, like I was too busy being addicted to opiates, but When I lived in Florida, I was around a much more liberal mindset. I told them, like, where I'm at now, it's community based. Like, it's neighbors helping each other. It's a small town. I mean, people gossip and shit, and there's drama, but for the most part, people take care of each other here. If your car won't start in the morning, somebody 2 houses down will come down and jump you without no questions asked. And he wrote me back and he's like, that sounds more like a liberal place. He's like, can't believe you would call Florida liberal. He says, this is the most non-liberal state. Everywhere I see is a fucking Trump flag and MAGA people. And I'm like, dude, you live in Fort Myers. When I lived in Florida, fucking throw a rock and you'd find gay shit anywhere. Like it's a red state, but it's populated with a lot more liberal left-leaning people than people want to admit. I don't even know.
There's lots of blue areas in Florida.
I just want to say, for all those watching on YouTube, this is a good point where we're gonna leave the YouTube if you want to watch the rest of this uncensored, where we can say whatever we want. Nobody's gonna say the N-bomb, so don't go over to Rumble. But yeah, this
Anthony
is the point where you
Cumi's
can
not
join
gonna
us
be
on
on.
Rumble. Thank you very much for those watching us on YouTube, but you got to go now. Appreciate it.
How many
Bye.
were watching?